To the second of KTN News Center. Now, the economy is expected to grow by at least 5.6% this year compared to an earlier estimate of 5.8%. This is according to the International Monetary Fund, which has not yet given reasons for the lower projections. Now, the international lender is unveiling the October 2019 Regional Economic Outlook on Sub-Saharan Africa at a Nairobi hotel. And initially, before that, it was the Nairobi Governor Patrick Njoroge addressing the stakeholders right there. We'll be giving you his speech later on of what he had to say. But what you're having right there are live pictures of that economic forecast meeting where the IMF has projected that Kenya's economy is expected to grow by at least 5.6%.
For our marathon runners, this time it's yours, but only for a time. And the coffee is not bad either. Okay, so by way of a roadmap for a presentation that Zhang Ming and I will be doing this morning, I will start, really, we'll try and keep our presentation as brief as possible. I will start by providing you an overview of recent developments and the outlook for the region, highlighting the challenges facing the region, as the governor has noted. Then I will talk a little bit more about the policies that are required to build resilience and counter some of the shocks that we're seeing in the region. And then I'll cede the floor to Zhang Ming, who will present the main findings of two analytical chapters that we have underpinning the regional economic outlook this time around, focusing on the causes and impact of domestic arrears and the growth and welfare impact of boosting competition in the region. So, with that, let me proceed with the presentation. This chart here shows the path for real GDP per capita between 1990 and 2000, our projections through 2024. Really, a few takeaways from this chart. The first is that the story of growth in the region since around 2016 has not changed much. What we saw around 2016 was a bifurcation of the growth paths, broadly to a first approximation along the basis around which countries rely on commodity prices. For non-resource, non-commodity intensive countries depicted by the gray line, the path for per capita GDP growth really has kept on the same trend it has been on since the mid-2000s. However, for more commodity-reliant countries, the blue line here, growth has been much more sluggish for the last 3-4 years. And because this commodity exporting group includes some of the larger economies in the region, the likes of Nigeria, South Africa, this has dragged down the region's overall growth rate. And so that's why where you see growth, the overall growth rate is shown by the orange line here. That has also kinked since around 2016. So in terms of actual numbers, our forecast is for growth in the region to remain stable at the 3.2% mark in 2019 and pick up to accelerate somewhat to the 3.6% mark in 2020. This histogram shows, however, the tremendous variation in growth rates in the region. Each box shows, is a data point for a single country. And as you can see, one of the things that marks, with apologies to the governor, one of the things that mark the region's growth, one of the ways in which we can categorize the region's growth performance is really this tremendous variation, the heterogeneity, as economists would say, across the region. This is so for both the fairly large economies in the region. So you see some of the more commodity-reliant countries, Angola, South Africa, Nigeria, at the lower end of the spectrum, and some of the larger economies, Kenya, Ethiopia, Ghana, at the higher end of the spectrum in terms of growth performance this year and next year. But it's important to note that even within the commodity exporting group.
All right, now.